Hello, Mr. Commissioner. Ana Garcia was a 20-year-old college student whose body had been reported by a 19-year-old college student and friend Terry Diaz in the Genji Life Science building at the college around 10 a.m. The local authorities were notified and the scene was secured by the police before slightly after. And aside from her studies, she had a very social and athletic life. The descendant posted a lot on social media and we've established a clear timeline of the events following. From the post, she's in the soccer team and spends long hours in the lab for studies. We can also see that she is an avid coffee drinker and she has been getting some migraines lately. Ana Garcia, we think has died from heart failure due to the excessive coffee drinking and aspirin intake. This would have caused her nosebleed and her to collapse to the floor. And these are things we found on the scene. A glass beaker, a white object in her hair that looks like rice, a phone, a bottle of pills, a fly, sand by her feet, red streaks on the table, an orange cap that looks like an object, or a syringe, a red substance found on the floor table, as well as her arm and hand. After performing a Kaplan-Meier test on the red substance, we confirmed that it was actually blood, and then in the autopsy report, nothing abnormal was found except for the undigested caffeine and aspirin.
The first thing that we would like to prove to you is that there was no foul play involved. 5 suspects were captured and questioned by law enforcement, and a polygraph test was provided to show their heart rate and the respiratory rate, as they were both asked control and case-relevant questions. However, after looking closely as a result and comparing them to the previous questions, there were no clear signs of deception. Since our most recent interaction, we've gotten even more evidence that suggests that this death was not caused by homicide. DNA samples from Ana Garcia and all 5 suspects were collected, as well as the DNA from the blood in the scene. The DNA samples were ran and examined in a gel electrophoresis lab that we have recently conducted, and the results yielded us following information. Ana Garcia's blood was the only one directly matched the blood from the scene. Everyone else's DNA had not been the same that to the crime scene. So this means that the blood belonged to Ana. While this doesn't completely affirm the fact that there were no foul play involved, with this last piece of evidence, we can safely assume that Ana had died of natural causes.
There was a blood spatter that had been found on the scene in a pattern known as the falling droplets pattern. As you know, this can only be formed by the blood falling and hitting the surface directly at a 90-degree angle. The only way this could have happened logically was that if Ana had a nosebleed. And since the blood would fall in drops and gravity would align the droplet, by analyzing the diameter of these droplets, we've determined the height at which they have dropped from. And with that, also the position of what Ana was in. Let us explain. Mr. Commissioner, the higher the blood was dropped from, the bigger the splatter. We've concluded that Ana had started to bleed from the nose and started to fall on the ground due to the shrinking size of the blood spatters. This means that as she was bleeding, she started to fall, meaning that the height of her nose also started to fall. Put 2 and 2 together and she collapsed, which led to her body in that position. When we tested the blood type, it was type B, Ana's blood type.
Aside from all this, we've looked at what the brain would look like if it had suffered a concussion or traumatic brain injury, and to compare that to Ana's. Between the two, there are no similarities, and we have concluded that no blunt force was administered to her head. Lastly, we learned about the heart, and what we've concluded that she had died from heart failure. This is because the caffeine and aspirin in her system caused either the left or right side of the heart to fail, because of the increased pressure that needed more strength to be pumped. Her heart cannot keep up with that, and so it failed, leading to her body not being able to get the adequate amount of oxygen that it needs. From this, we have reached a definitive conclusion that her due dates are due to her heart failure. Ana Garcia had died because of the caffeine in her system that had led to her heart failure. We have proved that this is true, and we do not need an arrest warrant after examining other pieces of evidence that we say there were no foul play.